Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Welcome, everybody. This is the Vote Your Voice virtual event. Thank you for coming, and we hope that you feel comfortable in participating throughout the event and engaging in such an important topic. This is an event that we normally have done in person, but through the efforts of an excellent team of people from around the college, we are able to have an interesting and engaging event this year. I'm Dr. Puno, the humanities professor at the Delaware campus and also the co-advisor to the Delaware Campus Humanities Club, who helped with this event. We have a great schedule, just as Avery was saying. We have a great schedule today. We're going to be engaging for about an hour. We have a couple of videos about the importance of voting. Then we will have a few students here today to talk about their perspective concerning voter registration and what challenges face younger generations. And then in about 30 minutes, we will have a Q&A session with Ms. Liz Gitter, our representative from the League of Women Voters. The League has participated in many of the previous annual events, and we are very excited to have her here to answer any questions you may have about voter information, resources, and opportunities. So let's all welcome Ms. Gitter.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Great. I'm very pleased to be here this morning, and thank you very much for inviting me. I am glad to see everyone enthusiastic about voting. Just want to talk for a minute about the League of Women Voters. Our Delaware County League of Women Voters has two missions, and we advocate for the rights of all citizens to vote, and that includes young people, people of color, people who have served prison sentences and have just now had their rights restored, people with disabilities, and we advocate for the removal of barriers such as postage stamps on absentee ballots, those kinds of things. And then the second thing that we do is voter education, and this is kind of a piece of voter education. We compile a voter's guide by emailing all the candidates and asking them to respond to a few questions and give us some information, and that's available nationally at vote411.org. Ours will be available by the end of the week, but isn't currently available today. And we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to learn about the candidates on all the parties. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gitter. So like I said, we're going to start off with the rest of the schedule. Be sure to pay attention to your chat that's there, because if you have any questions, or we might be providing some resources in there for you, websites and whatnot. And then, yeah, enjoy the time that we have available for you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ben. So I'm going to first just kick it off with a short 2-minute video about voting specifically in Ohio. I think, as Liz pointed out, we are nonpartisan. We're not trying to force you to any party. We are just encouraging you to vote. Let your voice be heard. So we hope that that's what you gain out of this. And I'm going to share my screen.
Hey, Ohio! Before you can vote, you've got to be registered. If you're not sure if you're already registered, you can check using the link in the description. But if you're not registered yet, or you've moved or changed your name since the last time you voted, you'll need to fill out a registration form. If you have an Ohio driver's license or state ID, you can register online at the link in the description. But if you don't have an Ohio ID, you can still register by mail. You can also pick up a form at your Board of Elections office, any BMV office, most social service agencies, public libraries, and high schools if you don't have access to a printer. Once you're registered, there's a few different ways you can vote. Any Ohio voter can vote absentee, and you don't even have to leave your house to do it. All you have to do is fill out the form linked in the description and mail it to your County Board of Elections office so they get it before noon on October 31st. Though the sooner you do it, the better. So you have more time to get your ballot in the mail, fill it out at your own pace, and mail it back or drop it off at your County Board of Elections office before November 3rd. You can also vote early in person starting October 6th all the way through November 2nd. This is a great option if it's easier for you to vote on a weekend or even a Thursday afternoon. Check your County Board of Elections website to find the early voting hours and locations near you. If you really want that experience of voting on Election Day, polls are open November 3rd from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And there's a link below to look up where you need to go to vote. You'll need to bring an ID with you. A valid Ohio driver's license or state ID, military ID, or recent utility bill, bank statement, government check, or paycheck with your name and current address on it will all work. You can also go to the link in the description to look at a sample ballot that tells you everything you'll be able to vote for in your county. You don't have to vote for everything on the ballot. You're allowed to leave things blank if you want to. But your local elections can be really important, so it's worth checking out what's on there ahead of time. You can even print it out and bring it to the polls with you so you don't forget who you wanted to vote for. And one last thing. If you're gonna vote, open up your notes app or grab a pen and paper and make a plan. Write down when and how you're gonna register, what time you're gonna vote, how you're gonna get there, what ID you're gonna use, even who you're gonna bring to the polls with you. Having a plan is a great way to make sure that nothing unexpected stops you from voting on November 3rd. All the links you need to check your registration and polling location are in the description. Thanks for voting. How to Vote in Every State is produced by Complexly in partnership.
All right, so that was a lot of information, super quick. Don't worry, we are gonna also email this video and links to you afterwards. So at some point, I will ask towards the end for you to pop your email in the chat, just so that we triple check that we have your email, and we will get all this information to you too. But the biggest thing she said is you gotta make a plan. So I love how she said it, which is why we wanted to show that video. Now I'm going to kick it over to Abdi, and we're going to share a student perspective. So current students, just like you guys, who kind of want to talk to you and share about their voting experience. So Abdi, if you want to turn your camera on, say hello.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Abdi Jama. I work in the Student Engagement Leadership Office, and I'm going to be leading the student discussion time. We have Devin and Darby. The first question is for Devin, for both of you actually, really. Please introduce yourself. When do you plan to graduate, and what's your plan to study?
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry that my camera's not working. I wish it was so you can all see my smiling face. But my name is Devin Brown. I currently study international business and real estate at Columbus State, and this is actually my last semester at Columbus State, so that's kind of bittersweet, but I'll be at OSU in the spring, so I'm excited about that.
Same question for you, Darby.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Darby. My camera is working. You do get to see my wonderful face. I'll provide for the both of us. But I'm a history major, and I graduate in a year or so. I just graduated from Columbus State. Sad to say, still already missing it.
That's good.
But
Congratulations. So my first question is for both of you again. Why do you think it's important to vote?
Sure. Sorry, go ahead.
Sure. All right. I believe it's important to vote because we've been given this amazing right to participate in our government and to make these changes that affect not just our larger government but our local government, because voting spans not just to the national standard, it stands to local. I mean, your last year's voting, we voted on a payment plan for the Delaware campus. I mean, that was an extremely important vote. And that affects our education for years to come. Voting spans so much wider than people just concentrate on it. You don't need to vote just every 4 years.
Thank you very much. Devin?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll piggyback off of that and just really say, so for me, the reason why voting is so important is because it allows people to come together and use their collective voice to really elect people that represent them. Especially like when we're talking about local elections, that's more so what I'm referring to. Now, presidential elections are obviously important as well, but kind of like Darby said, like, it's not just voting isn't just voting for the president every 4 years. So, these types of local elections can affect everything from taxes to the criminal justice system that we see in place and where we live. Development, I'm a real estate major, so development is obviously a huge issue. So it really is important, and I think it affects us in more ways than most people realize. So that's why it's important for me.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. My follow-up question would be, what's your experience with voting?
So my experience, the first time I voted, I have to admit that I was not an informed voter, and I kind of regret that. Ever since I have been, and I have always paid attention to my voting times, um, because there's just so many ways and so many times that we actually get to vote that we don't expect to vote, and super important. I've always been able to access my polling station. I have to say I'm privileged in that, and in that respect, that voting station hasn't been far out of the way or super packed or in any way inconvenient. But as a voter, you know, that's been my experience, and I hope to continue with that experience, and I hope other people can get that experience.
Say a little more, Darby. Tell us, was it scary? How many things were you voting for? What made you even show up? Like, tell us about your experience.
Well, what made me show up to the voting was the fact that my grandmother got me out of bed the first time. But afterwards, it's always been because I understand the importance of contributing to my community that way and contributing my government. It was really nerve-wracking to get the poll and to shuffle in, show my ID, everything like that, because it was a little bit crowded. It was a little intimidating. I looked at the ballot and I'm like, I don't recognize a lot of these names. I hope I'm voting for the right issues. But afterwards, being informed, you get more relaxed and you look at these issues and you're like, okay, yes, I definitely want to, this is something I very much so feel passionately about. I see this on the ballot. I need to check it off. Or even like, I'm glad it's on the ballot, getting things onto the ballot.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Darby. Same question for you, Devin.
Sure. Yeah. So for me, I actually came from a background probably similar to a lot of different young people, which was that, voting didn't matter. Voting was stupid. So because of that, I actually didn't vote for the first time until 2015, or was it 15? Sorry. I think it's 15. But yeah, so essentially, and the only reason why I voted is because I actually picked up a part-time job on one of the campaigns, and essentially, I was just out there, and it was like the last day of going door to door, and essentially everyone else was voting, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll just go with everybody else and vote. And because of that, like Darby said, for me, I was super uninformed. I had no idea what I was voting for. I was just looking, kind of going through and just, it sounds really bad, especially knowing what I know now, but I was literally just like kind of playing like, what do you call it? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Just like, okay, which one? All right, that one. I'll take that one. Like it was really bad. And so since then, I actually come into Columbus State. I became a SEEP fellow, which is the Campus Election Engagement Project, and essentially that really started to help inform me as a voter and the importance of voting and issues and things like that. And so because of that, I've definitely been more educated as of recently. And actually, this year will be my first time actually voting absentee. So I've already submitted the absentee ballot form and all that fun stuff. So I'm excited to see what that experience is like. Overall, it's been okay so far. I've submitted the form once, and I don't know what happened, but for whatever reason, they sent me another form saying like, "Hey, you should request it again." So I was like, "Okay." So I've done it the second time. So I'm actually still waiting for the ballot, but it was super easy to fill out. They send you the form, you just fill it out. It's not super hard or anything like that, and then you just send it back in the mail. You don't need a stamp or anything like that. It's already prepaid for. So that part of the experience has been really easy, and I'm looking forward to seeing how everything plays out.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. My next question is, what would you tell someone who is unsure if voting matters?
Well,
boy.
here, Devin, you go first.
Okay. Yeah, that's wow. Yeah, that's a great question. When I became a C fellow, one of the statistics that we learned, I think this was in 2018 when I first joined, but I think there was 141 different elections in the last 5 years that came down to they were tied, and there's been really extreme cases where like they just flip a coin or pick a name out of a hat to determine who the winner is in those types of elections. So, it goes to show that literally just one vote can really make a huge difference. So I definitely think that's why it's important to vote.
Thank you, Devin.
Um, I would say to somebody who's unsure of voting, as a history major, I'd probably rattle on about the fact that we have this right and we should be expressing it more often. I mean, of all the times that before now before anything we had no choice, but now we do. You have this free choice to walk to the polls and go vote and change your community. That sounds alluring in so many ways, that even if you are unsure of what's on the ballot, even if you're not fully informed, you should still vote. At least find something. I mean, usually you should be informed, but absolutely still go to vote.
Thank you very much. Anything else you two want to share with students who this is their first time voting?
For a first timer, take the day off. Treat it like a holiday. Take the day off and treat it like a holiday, because it should be. I mean, voting for us is so important that we should celebrate it. We really should. We should have like gather up all your friends, go to your respective polls, and join up afterwards for like a lunch or something to celebrate the fact that you contributed to your being an active citizen in your environment. And yes, it's hard for students to go out about. I know we have lots of school, and we don't have always access. How many people in the dorms don't have cars? How many people already have transportation issues taking the bus and everything? Yes, you need to make a plan beforehand so that you can get there, but after that, celebrate, have some relaxing day, and enjoy the fact that you just voted.
I like that. I like that very much. Thank you. Mr. Devin?
Yeah, for first time voter, I mean, I love the idea of making this almost like a community driven type thing, like, and which it should be, you know what I mean? Like, obviously there's like a stigma between not letting people know, or there used to be anyway, but not letting people know who you vote for and things like that. But I love the idea of celebrating it together and everyone kind of supporting each other and things like that. I think that's super important. But for a first time voter, I would definitely recommend just following the links that will be sent later in this chat, but definitely just taking a look at sample ballots and get an idea of what's on the ballot, or what's up for being up on the ballot in the future, or whatever the case may be, and just get an idea of what you like or what you might be interested in. And especially like the local stuff, I would definitely go to like your cities or towns or whatever auditor site or whatever the case may be, and just type in, figure out exactly what they're pushing for in the area that you live, because those are going to be the things that affect you the closest. So yeah, I would just say try to educate yourself. You don't have to be an expert about politics or anything like that, but just get an idea of kind of what you're voting for and what you might like to see happen.
Oh, I want to add, voting, you're right, voting shouldn't be scary in any way. If you take a relaxed approach to it with its due seriousness, but without the anxiety and fear. Even if people argue over what's on the ballot, you can still have lots of conflicts with people, but in itself, the voting should not be stressful.
Agreed. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Talk to somebody, maybe somebody who's voted before, or somebody that is a little bit more knowledgeable about issues, or whatever the case may be. Like, you don't have to, you're not alone in this process.
That's really, really good. I couldn't say it any better. Thank you, guys. I'm going to open the floor now to see if any students have any questions for Darby and Devin.
Yeah, and I think as we're waiting, students, if you have any questions specifically for students, we'll have a Q&A a little bit with more of an expert, so we don't have to put our students completely on the spot. But if you are thinking of a question, Alyssa, could you take a second and just kind of share with what you're putting in the chat for students, all the resources?
Yeah, I'm just dropping as many resources as comes up in the conversation. So I've dropped a few links for checking to register to vote. Also a place where you can register to vote. and some awesome information on voteohio.gov, which explains a lot of different aspects of voting around here, and answers a lot of questions if you don't feel comfortable answering them here too. But I'll be dropping a ton of links as we go along, and we will also include those in the follow-up email afterwards too.
Yeah, thanks, Alyssa. And yeah, I think Devin and Darby both pointed out that there are voter guides that literally they do all the hard work for you, kind of pull together the top just issues that each candidate is interested in. So you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a full research report. You can make it as big as you want it to be, but know that you're allowed to skip questions too if you don't feel strongly about certain candidate or a certain judge or whatever that is. You don't have to put an answer down. And I laugh at Devin saying eeny, meeny, miny, because I did the same thing. The first time I voted, I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I was just selecting for president. That's what I thought I was coming in for. And so you guys are already doing a great job by jumping in on this event. So I think you guys are already ahead of the game, knowing that there's a lot more to know about voting. All right, Abdi, Darby, or Devin, is there anything else you guys wanted to add? I don't see any questions.
You got this.
Thank you. We will go strong on that one. So we're going to do another quick video, and then we will go into our Q&A with Liz. And this video is specifically about voting local, and I like this video because I think it's really entertaining if you start to listen to what he's saying. So I will again share my screen.
Electoral votes, more than 270, more than enough to become the 44th president of the United States. He will be the first African-American president of the United States.
I've been broke all my life, but I kept hope all them nights. You see business in my city? Yeah, they closed all them twice. I was just riding down Salem, all them damn potholes. I can't drive. I know y'all can fix it faster, but I know y'all won't try. Don't nobody care about us. And that's why I don't vote. Voted for Obama back in 2012. I remember that's when I had hope. He was saying, yes, we can. And everybody got less food stamps. And when I turned 21, I was still broke. I'd never vote again. I don't think I ever had a president make my life better. Did it all on my own. Ain't no politician ever do a nice gesture. I don't even know the man's name. I ain't never seen her one time ever. Tell me how she gonna help the city. What I'm supposed to do, write letters? What I'm supposed to do, blame Trump? He ain't never really gave it. Ain't nobody raised minimum wage. None of these jobs pay enough. I think they just want to keep us broke, cause they ain't putting none in place for us. This how all my people feel, but we gotta learn. We complained enough. Let me change it up. Everything I just said, everybody I know think the same way. See, they don't want to see us vote, and we never do, so we see the same thing. But all our votes really do count, and they'll never really let it show. So now I'm finna break it down, cause if I don't, you would probably never know. First thing first, you know back in middle school when they taught us, it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president. Now, none of them 3 people make no laws. They just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We got to focus on the legislative branch. Yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones write how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. For the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do. Okay, y'all? See, they election every 2 years, but we don't ever even go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it though. So you know how back in 08, when we all voted for Obama, we was all supposed to go back in 2010 and vote for the Congress. Cause they the ones make child support laws. They the ones choose if your kids at school get to eat steak or corn dogs. The State House make the court calls. So if the country failed, then you can't say it's them, it's your fault. Cause y'all ain't know to vote for Congress members that was for y'all. And they don't gotta leave after 4 years, and we just let them sit. See, they don't want to tell you this, they want you to focus on the president. Now the 3rd branch is the judicial, that's judges. They the reason why John Crawford and Trayvon ain't had justice. So when Meek Mill got locked up just for popping willies, we blame the judge and not the city when they let her get voted in. Cause they ain't know who to vote against. Man, Imagine life on the other side. Roads better, schools better, everybody get their license back, grocery store food better, custody of your kids back, homeless people get new shelters. If we gon' fix the U.S., we gotta start with them 2 letters, me and you. Somebody told us that the government wanna keep us broke, but the only reason why those people in the government is cause we ain't vote. And I ain't talking about the president, I'm talking about the ones we ain't know. So they was gonna try to keep it low, but it's gonna hurt them when they see the polls.
Every time you stay home, someone is making a decision about you, making decisions about the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food your kids eat, and how much money you bring home every 2 weeks. So every time you sit out an election, every time you don't show up because you think it doesn't matter, someone else is happy that you didn't show up, so they can make that decision for you. Vote.
All right. We hope that you enjoyed that video and really just showed that voting is so much bigger than just the one office. And Alyssa put that in the chat as well, and we'll send it to you if you're interested in sharing it with your friends. But yeah, we are excited. We're going to go now into our Q&A session. So any questions that you guys have, now is the time to ask them. Resources will be put in the links all the time, but ask your questions. Don't be afraid. Type them or speak them out loud. And I will kick it over to Lindsay and Liz.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I will read any questions that come into the chat for Liz.
All right, Liz, if you want to I think we've had some newer people jump in, so feel free to just explain your role a little bit more, and then we'll get right into the questions.
Hi, I'm Liz Gitter. I'm with the League of Women Voters, Delaware County, and I'm here to answer questions. Our organization advocates for everyone to be able to vote and for an educated voter base. So we're here to help on that.
Okay, we already have a question. Caroline asks, how do I check if I'm registered?
You can go to that same link we've given for voter registration, and you can you can check there, and that's the olvr.ohiosos.gov. There are a couple of important deadlines. One is if you want to vote, you have to be registered to vote by October 5th. You will start getting, then if you want to request an absentee ballot, the post office just sent out a postcard I got yesterday that said you should request an absentee ballot at least 15 days before it's due. Ohio will allow you to do it by October 31st, but I think the 15-day is probably a better one to remember. The last day to vote for in-person at the Board of Elections is November 2nd, and that's the last day to get your absentee ballot in. Someone's asking, does your vote count? And yes, everyone's vote counts. Elected officials make decisions about things like what the requirements are for repaying student loans. They set policies around how much money people take home, what taxes are, how much Columbus State gets for its, for operating expenses, and some of those kinds of things that directly affect you. And there's things, about a lot of things that elected officials decide, and it's important that you get out there and so that you're making those decisions instead of letting somebody else who might not agree with you make those decisions.
Yeah, I also just want to jump in on that one as well. I know Devin mentioned previously, but 141 elections from 2013 to 2018 in Ohio were either by one vote or by a tie. And if that doesn't convince you that you need to go out and vote, I think, I'm not sure what else will, but yeah, I dropped that one on my brother just recently this weekend, and he was super shocked and was like, I have to go vote then. So.
There's another question about what you need to bring with you to vote.
You need an ID. The easiest one is your driver's license. A government ID will work. You could also, there's some other things that'll work. Check the Secretary of State's website. It's the voteohio.gov, and it will give you additional information. Oh, okay. I just saw the question in the what exactly is a poll worker and how could I become one? If you're interested in being a poll worker, they'd love to have you this year, since with COVID, a lot of the poll workers are over 65 and are feeling are concerned about working the election. What you do is contact your local board of election. It has to be for the county you live in or a vote in. So if it's your Delaware residents, Delaware County Board of Elections, or Franklin County, it's Franklin County Board of Elections. And then you go through a couple hours of training, and then you work the day, which is usually a whole 12, 13-hour day. So it's a real long day. You get paid $120 in Delaware County for working the day, according to my retired buddy who worked the polls last year. And you also get paid additional for training. So she said that between all the little gigs that she picked up being a poll worker, she got about $200 last election. So it's a good way to pick up a little extra money and help your fellow citizens and learn about elections. So it's a great thing to do.
I know you mentioned the 411 guide. So is that the voter guide that the League of Women Voters have pulled together?
Yes, actually, I'm doing that for the local Delaware League this year, and it's both a local league and a national league project. If you go to the website vote411.org, a couple of weeks from now, it will have, you can put in your address from any place in the country, and it will pull up the candidates and the races for your address. And the candidates have been asked to put information into the website, and they put the information in. We don't edit it, so we try to do that to keep it nonpartisan and very impartial. And we do a lot of work to try to get candidates to respond. I can personally tell you all the candidates have gotten at least 3 emails from me. Unless a few that didn't respond have gotten phone calls. So we do our best to get people to give us the information.
So that's awesome. So any county will have access to their own county, right?
Yeah.
And then what's the difference between a voter guide and a sample ballot?
A sample ballot would have things checked. Actually, our voter guide, you select what you want to do or you want to vote, and I think you can actually print it out that way. A sample ballot is simply a list of the candidates. It'll have like the office, and then it'll have John Jones and Harry Smith and Katie Reingeist voting as the commissioner candidates, and it'll show you who's running for which office.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm not quite sure. There's the question about they mentioned terms for Congress voting and such. I'm curious about the details of that as well. If you're asking about this voter guide include voting for Congress? Yes, we've got the race of the Balderson and Shearer race in our vote411.org. We also have judges, and one of our leagues will send out questions to all of the judges in Ohio.
Claire asked, what advice would you give someone who wants to vote but isn't very educated on politics?
I would say start by reading the local newspaper online. There's what I found is that used to be years ago, we would get the news from the television and there'd be 3 television stations and everybody would hear the same news. Now everybody looks at their Facebook page or the news or the channel of their choice, and everybody gets their, it seems like people get their news slanted based on whatever political view point they are. And I guess I would encourage looking at a variety of sources just to get away from, if you really do want to get exposed and you really want to learn, and look at, listen to some different news sources. I mean, I like to start with the Columbus Dispatch, but I guess I'm old school, but there are lots of, I would look for news sources that have some kind of vetting. I guess I don't think Facebook is a very good source, primarily because there's a lot of things that have not been vetted. With the traditional news sources like, things like the New York Times, the Columbus Dispatch, the Cincinnati Enquirer, Cleveland's newspaper, those things have standards where they have to check a couple of sources to verify what they're putting in the news. And so things are more likely to be accurate, whereas in Facebook, somebody can make up a story or just put it on a conspiracy theory, and it hasn't been vetted by anybody else. So that's what I like to do to check the news. Well, somebody just asked, what's your favorite part about working for the League of Women Voters? Actually, I'm a volunteer. I'm a retired state employee from Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. And I guess I like it because it keeps me active. It gets me doing things like getting on video programs where I'm dealing with chat rooms, and I would keep up with those kinds of skills. And it gives me a chance to talk to people and advocate for people voting, and I'm also a retired social worker, so I like to advocate for everyone to be able to vote. And that it's particularly people with disabilities or people who might be from low-income backgrounds or returning from prison, that kind of thing, as part of my value system.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We definitely appreciate you taking the time to inform us a little more. Ben, did you have something that you wanted to share?
Oh, no, I just wanted to say thank you as well. This has been really informative.
Yeah. So we are going to go into some fun trivia that actually does have right and wrong answers, and Alyssa will talk us through what the correct answer is. So we hope that you'll stay on with us. But that's all the meat. That's all the big content. Please pop your email into the chat, and we will make sure that you get the follow-up email with all of the links that we've shared. So I will share my screen again, and we're going to play some fun trivia. All right, there's those important dates, and now hopefully go to the next page.
All right, let's see how you guys do on this one. I'm excited to see how these answers come out.
Someone was super quick.
Yeah, someone already knows. All right, we'll give it a few more seconds for people to answer.
Yeah, and you can use that same number that you were answering earlier with, so you shouldn't have to even text the number or the words again.
All right, looking like we're split between the first 3. 1492 is really early, guys. All right, we go ahead and call it. It is 1787. That is the year that the Constitution was written. Good job, the majority of you guys did pretty good. History, that's my strong suit, so. All right, what are the first 3 words of the Constitution? All right, someone was quick on that one. These are good answers, too. I think Avery did these.
I think the Once Upon a Time I thought was really going to get some people.
I mean, that would be perfect, honestly. All right, right, I'm going to call it at 92%. You guys got it. We the people. I would love it if it was hear ye, but alas, that's not it.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question, who votes the most? Who do you guys think are the ones that are running out and voting the most? Good answers.
They're not very confident in their own age group, it looks like.
I know, that's like really sad. I'd like for you guys to be like, oh yeah, we're out there voting and doing stuff, making change.
They know a little bit better, I think.
Yeah. Alas, I was actually surprised by this answer. So just a little bit surprised. All right, I think we're gonna call it now. It is actually our 65 years and older. So surprisingly, that is the group that is voting the most. I'd like to say that our group, or even just like our parents, but it's probably mostly our grandparents that are out there voting. I'm saying ours, I'm pretty young in comparison, but 66.1% of adults who are older than 65 have voted in the midterm election in 2018. That was the highest turnout. In that same year, only 35.6% of 18 to 29-year-olds voted. So I'm glad you guys weren't picking that one, because we were not a strong suit then.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. Does my vote count? I want to see what you guys' answer are, because hopefully you should know by now.
Yeah, we probably won't see much. Oh, we do. It's a myth.
Oh.
It's coming for us.
Oh, myth is coming back.
It is. I didn't think we'd see much back and forth.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are at 50-50, so I'm just going to go and call it at this one. This is going to be a myth. Your vote really does matter, and it does count. It just about 1 in 5 voters participate on off-year local elections. So it means that your vote actually probably counts more than you think it does. During the local elections, you can get out there and your vote is going to make that change. It's going to sway that entire tide vote, towards whatever, you feel like is going to be the right answer. And it does look like somebody may have mistaken and accidentally said myth, but that's totally okay.
All right.
All right. Can you vote at any polling station? All right, it's looking like we got a pretty confident no on this one, 82%. I think this was kind of a trick question, because technically, yes, you kind of can vote at any station, but you are assigned a polling station. So you will need to typically go to that station that you are assigned to. And then once you go there, you should be already registered and ready to go. But if you end up not going to that voting station, you will be given a provisional ballot. And if you're given a provisional ballot, sometimes they can't check to make sure that you're actually registered to vote and registered and good to go. So technically, yes, you can vote in any polling station, but it's best that you go to the one that you're assigned to.
Yeah, thanks for that. And yeah, essentially, then your vote maybe counts because it may not count if you don't go to the right polling station.
And also, you can go early to your county's Board of Election, and you can vote early. That technically might not be yours. So just wanted to throw that in there too. But also, do you guys think that voter fraud is a big problem in the US? Okay, this is a real back and forth today. All right, I think it's stalling here, so we're gonna call it now. This is actually going to be a myth, despite what you tend to hear. Two studies that were done at Arizona State University, one in 2012 and one in 2016, found nearly negligible rates of impersonation fraud. The project only found 10 cases of voter fraud and impersonation nationwide from 2000 to 2012.
Wow.
The follow-up study, I mean, basically looked for fraud specifically in states where politicians have argued that fraud is like a huge problem and found 0 successful prosecutions for impersonation fraud in 5 states from 2012 to 2016. So really, if you're looking at the numbers, it's not ever really that, it's not happening essentially. And yeah, it's kind of a big thing that they like to throw out, but it's really not.
Yeah, thanks for that information.
All right, so who was the first woman to run for president? I like this one because not a lot of people know. Okay, we've got back and forth between B and C. And I think it's stalling on, oh, there we go, we got some more in there. Okay, 67% say it's Shirley Chisholm, but that is not true. It's actually Victoria Woodhull in 1872. She's pretty great. She's actually from Ohio, so that's like super awesome. Her vice president running was Frederick Douglass. That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then wasn't Shirley she was the first Black woman to
Yes. No, yes, I think she was the first Black woman. So
yeah.
You guys were close on that one.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
Yeah. All right, can you guys name one right or freedom from the First Amendment? Just name any of the things that you can remember from the First Amendment. Got guns. Cool, we got some good answers. Let's see if we can get some more. All right. Yeah, you guys got some great answers. Guns, unfortunately, is not in the First Amendment, but the First Amendment does talk about speech, religion, assembly, press, and to petition government. So you guys pretty much were on the ball with all the rest of them. That was pretty great. All right, this one is, I would say, another trick question, but can you vote if you've been convicted of a crime? Okay, we've got some back and forth on this one.
I think, Alyssa, we have just about 2 questions left. Is that correct?
I believe so. We've got a few more, about 4 more, so I'll keep it running.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to call it on this one. So technically, a person who is serving time in jail for a felony conviction can neither register nor vote in an election. And a person who has twice been convicted of a violation of election laws is permanently barred from voting. Otherwise, a qualified person convicted of a misdemeanor can vote, and a voter who is incarcerated is can technically canceled, but once that person has completed his jail or prison sentence, and on probation or parole, he then can re-register to vote, and then but months they have to do it before the deadline, but otherwise they can vote. So that was a trick question again.
Thanks for that information.
All right, let's see if we can do these last few ones quickly, but we elect a U.S. Senator every how many years? All right, we're getting quite a few answers here for 2 and 6. And I'm going to call it right now. The answer is 6. We elect a U.S. Senator every 6 years.
Tricky one.
Very tricky. Okay, and who is one of our U.S. Senators here in Ohio?
All right, and don't forget, if you guys want these links and videos to be sent to your email, for sure, if you pop your email in that chat, we can then pull your emails from there. We can take it from the attendance roster, but sometimes it's not always accurate. So we would love to have your actual email just in that chat. Mike.
All right. You guys are doing great up until Mike Pence. Sherrod Brown and Rob Portman are our 2 U.S. senators. Mike Pence, unfortunately, is not one of our senators. All right, we can go on to the next one, which is we elect a U.S. representative every how many years? All right, we've got some back and forth again, but I'm going to call it again. We're going to go for 2. So we got 90% answer 2. That was correct. Avery did a little trickery on this one. So the representative and the senators, she put both of those in there to kind of mix everyone around, but we elect a representative every 2 years and a senator is every 6 years. All right, Marcy Kaptur, Ohio U.S. representative, has been in office for how long? And this is the last question, so make it good, guys.
I'm sure it'll just be eeny, meeny, miny, mo for most people. I wouldn't have known this one without looking it up.
Yeah. It was the same for me. I was definitely like, I have absolutely no idea. All right. This is definitely eeny, meeny, miny, mo, so let's see which one wins. All right, I'm going to give it a few more seconds, see if anyone else answers.
Mandy said Marcy's her girl. I love that.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to call it on this one. It was not 2008, but is 1983. So we got 10% and they're new. Or, guess right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Alyssa.
Yeah, no problem. You guys did really good on that.
That's great.
Yeah. And I think I just wanted to share that, we talked about local elections. People can be in office for a very long time if we're not thinking about and figuring out what we actually want to represent us. So hope you guys enjoyed that trivia. Ben, did you want to close us up?
I just wanted to say thank you again for all the people that participated in this. And I'm glad that we're able to have conversations like this without getting too political into things. And so just talking about the importance of voting in general, because no matter what perspective you have, you should be voting because it is our duty and it is something that does have dramatic change for the country. So thank you all for coming and thank you to the team who put this together. This is great. Awesome. And again, thank you to Liz for being here and representing the League of Women Voters. We always enjoy having them here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Definitely. Well, guys, again, pop your email in the chat if you want to make sure you get the email. And then we'll stop recording this and we'll actually probably play it in our evening, maybe a couple different times. So if you have a friend that you think will really benefit, let them know. And we'll talk with you guys later.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much.